My name's Anthony Doerr. I wrote my fourth book is called Memory Wall. It's a collection of 6 short stories that are tied together, not necessarily by characters or place, but by a neurological thread, which is memory. Each of the stories is somehow asking questions of the reader about memory. What is memory and how does it determine our lives? I'm interested in memory for a number of reasons. First and foremost, I got interested in memory because when I was 16, my grandmother came to live with us, who lived in Ohio, and she had dementia. And it was the beginning of people diagnosing Alzheimer's disease. And it was an extremely intense experience, especially for my parents, especially for my mother. And now that I revisit those memories, my memories of my grandmother, I realize, that was a very intense time that I need to explore. Everything that is ourself is because we can remember who we are, and my grandmother lost that. So I wrote a bunch of stories to try to explore how memory composes the self. There's 6 stories in this book, and in some ways I believe a short story collection can represent more windows onto the same questions about life than a novel can. In some cases, a short story collection can embrace the diversity of human experience more powerfully than a novel. I wake up, I write in the morning. I try not to check any email or ride in elevators with news flashes in them, and I try to just get into my work when my mind is clean. I feel like sleep really rinses your brain of all the noise from the previous day. So if I get a good night's sleep, I try to work for 3 or 4 hours on fiction without any electronic disruptions. And then throughout the rest of the day, your subconscious tends to operate on your work and maybe solve a few problems, and then the next morning get back to it. I've been working on a novel for a long time, set during World War II. It's about the use of radio, subversive radio, against Nazi occupations in various countries throughout Europe. And I'm really interested in taking a reader back to a time when radio was a fundamentally magic thing in our lives. You walk around the city now and you hear people complain about cellular reception, and they forget that this little miracle in their hands is a transmitter and a receiver that can talk to people in Madagascar, can talk to people literally tens of thousands of miles away or 10,000 miles away. And so I'm interested in bringing a reader back to the time when radio was an amazing part of life.